Morning everyone. My subject seminar topic is lung abscess and my moderator is Dr. Karthik Rao. So coming to few definitions, what is a lung abscess? It is a necrosis and cavitation of the lung following microbial infection, and it is usually marked by a single dominant cavity of more than 2 centimeter in diameter, although they can be single or multiple cavities. There's something called a non-specific lung abscess. So when no pathogen is isolated from a primary lung abscess, uh, it is called a non-specific lung abscess. Usually an anaerobic etiology is assumed. Putrid lung abscess is when there is a foul smelling breath or sputum, and it is diagnostic of anaerobic etiology. So classification of lung abscess based on an underlying disease, it can be primary or secondary. Primary, most commonly due to aspiration caused by anaerobic bacteria in absence of any underlying pulmonary or systemic condition. Secondary is when there is an associated underlying condition. So if there is an associated underlying pathology in the lung or a pulmonary manifestation of a systemic condition, then it is called a secondary lung abscess. Otherwise, it is called a primary lung abscess. Based on duration, it can be acute, which is less than 4 to 6 weeks, or chronic, which is more than 6 weeks. Coming to the epidemiology of lung abscess, it is more common in middle-aged men, and risk factors for having a lung abscess are basically risk factors for aspiration, like altered mental status, alcoholism, drug overdose, seizures, bulbar dysfunction, and GERD. And coming to pathophysiology, so in a primary lung abscess, if there is gingivitis or periodontal disease, it predisposes to this anaerobic and microaerophilic streptococci being aspirated into the lung parenchyma in a susceptible host, in a host which has the above discussed risk factors, and the patient is unable to clear the secretions. Then there is a pneumonitis which occurs due to the gastric acid, and in 7 to 14 days it undergoes necrosis and cavitation, which forms the lung abscess. In secondary lung abscess, like we know that there is an underlying pulmonary or systemic pathology, so it depends on the predisposing factor. So any obstructive lesions prevent clearance of secretions. Any systemic conditions causing impaired host defense mechanisms which increase the susceptibility to opportunistic organisms, or septic emboli from infective endocarditis, usually Staphylococcus aureus, are few of the pathophysiologies of secondary lung abscess. There's something called Lemierre's syndrome. It is when the infection begins in the pharynx, it spreads to the neck and carotid sheath, and so carotid sheath contains the jugular vein, and it causes the septic thrombophlebitis of this jugular vein. The organism responsible is usually Fusobacterium necrophorum, and this is called Lemierre's syndrome. It is a cause of secondary lung abscess. Coming to microbiology, so in primary lung abscess, when patients have risk factors for aspiration, it's usually a polymicrobial disease, and anaerobic bacteria and microaerophilic streptococci are the ones which are the responsible pathogens. In secondary lung abscess, patient has underlying immunocompromise. So Staphylococcus aureus, gram-negative rods, especially Pseudomonas, are very common. Nocardia, Aspergillus, Cryptococcus, Legionella, and TCP can also be implicated. In embolic lesions, usually from infective endocarditis, Staph aureus is the pathogen, and as we discussed, Lemierre's syndrome, Fusobacterium necrophorum. Endemic infections with or without immunocompromise like tuberculosis, histoplasma, parasites should be ruled out. And in miscellaneous, other bacterial pathogens can be Staph aureus after influenza or viral infection or actinomyces. Coming to pathology, in primary lung abscess, the location is basically dependent segments of the lung, which is the posterior upper lobes or the superior lower lobes, and right lung is more affected, as we know that the right bronchus is less angulated. Like we said, In primary lung abscess, it's most probably a polymicrobial infection with an anaerobic pathogen as well. And in secondary lung abscess, the abscess can occur anywhere. Since there is an underlying immunocompromise, any part of the lung can be affected. So based on which part of the lung is affected, we can try to find out whether it's a primary or a secondary lung abscess. For example, in this chest X-ray, there is a cavitatory lesion in the left middle lobe. So its same corresponding picture can be seen in CT. So if it's in the left middle lobe, we can infer that the patient has an underlying immunocompromise or an underlying systemic condition, which we need to further investigate and rule out. Coming to clinical manifestations, patients can present with fever, cough, hemoptysis, foul smelling sputum, night sweats and fatigue in a long standing case of abscess, and foul smelling sputum is usually more diagnostic of a lung abscess. Signs: patient can have pallor, they can have clubbing, poor dentition, absent gag reflex. This is a risk factor for aspiration. And on auscultation, patient will have amphoric or cavernous bronchial breath sounds at the site of the corresponding to the site of the lungs. So diagnosis: on chest X-ray, there will be a thick-walled cavity with an air fluid level. On CT thorax, we can identify if there are any underlying causes like malignancy, and we can do a CT-guided percutaneous needle aspiration in case we need to find out isolate an organism. Bronchoscopy and bronchoalveolar lavage or transtracheal aspirate is better in terms of yield of pathogen, and it will be less likely be contaminated, and it is important for targeted antibiotic therapy. In case we start on empiric therapy and the patient is not responding to the antibiotics, then we should send sputum and blood cultures to rule out other opportunistic pathogens. So treatment is basically with anaerobic cover like clindamycin 600 mg IV TID, and we can switch to oral 300 mg QID once the clinical signs and the imaging is showing improvement. The other option is IV beta-lactam and beta-lactamase combination followed by oral amoxiclav once again patient starts improving. Some studies have showed moxifloxacin 400 mg OD to be useful and effective as well. So duration, there is no fixed duration as per se, but treatment can go up to 3 to 4 weeks, and in fact it is more prolonged in secondary lung abscesses, and it can go up to 2 months. And you have to continue the treatment till imaging shows clearance of abscess or regression to a small scar. And in secondary lung abscesses, you have to treat the underlying condition as well. So what is the treatment for bigger abscesses? So surgical resection is an option for an abscess more than 6 to 8 centimeter in diameter. For poor surgical candidates, we can do a percutaneous drainage of abscess also. But there are complications to that, like pleural space infection, empyema, pneumothorax or hemothorax. And long-standing abscesses can also cause persistent cystic changes, pneumatoceles or bronchiectasis. It can be a cause of massive hemoptysis, and massive aspiration of the abscess contents is also a complication of long-standing abscess. So these are the poor prognostic factors: age more than 60 years, aerobic bacteria being the pathogen, sepsis at presentation, symptoms more than 8 weeks, and abscess of more than 6 centimeter in diameter. Thank you.